I strongly feel that any negative perception we have about others or ourselves, those perceptions can never go unexamined, because under those perceptions is the rewards for joy and happiness once they are looked at. My name is Willie. Thank you for watching me. The reason why I'm saying it, and this video is dedicated to loneliness, and the reason why I'm speaking on loneliness is because I just went through a recent experience out of which I felt lonely. I happened to take vacation for the past 2 weeks, and while being on vacation, after doing everything I needed to do in my house, I started feeling this loneliness that I could not explain. And as I kept meditating, it went deeper into the insecurity of not being enough, of being helpless. So I started talking to friends and to the other groups. That's why I encourage everyone to share their issues in the groups of David Hawkins, so like that we all learn from each other. As I started sharing what is happening to me, we started looking through the books of what is loneliness. And we noticed that loneliness is not actually just feeling lonely, but that there's a perception that is hidden under a behavior. And as I was looking through all the books, why does he speak about loneliness and how does he express that subject, what many of the other students suggested is that it's not actually loneliness what we are feeling, but that is grief. And that under that grief, I started feeling that I was not enough. Have I made the decisions that I made in my life, were they correct? And as I started meditating under each one of those, because it happened last week, so I've been looking into the perception of loneliness in my mind while I'm going through the books, meditating and studying. And what happens is the loneliness that I was feeling, it was because of grief, of not being enough or by not accomplishing certain goals, which I don't have any issues, is just a perception. And which led me, and in this video, we're going to talk about, again, letting go. And we're going to go, as one student suggested, on grief. Grief is an experience common to all of us. In grief, we feel that things are too difficult. We never make it. We are unloving and unlovable. We have thoughts such as, all fears I wanted. It is a feeling of sadness and loss, loneliness, the feeling of if only, regret, feelings of abandonment, pain, helplessness, and hopelessness, nostalgia, melancholy, depression, longing. Grief can be precipitated by the loss of our belief system or relationships, a capacity, or a role. A hope about ourselves and the overall attitude towards life. External circumstances or institutions is the feeling I'll never get over this. As I kept meditating on this issue of loneliness, what I started feeling is all these words as I kept meditating is, I am content with my life. I am happy with my life. And as you notice is, you always come back to the present after meditation, realizing that that perception is not who I am. And as you realize that the perception is not who you are, the feeling and the perception of loneliness starts dissipating, starts fading away. You stop thinking about it and you start feeling the feeling of joy. allowing the grief. Most of us carry a great deal of suppressed grief, but that grief is like underlining, and we don't see it until we come across the event that arises that point of view to be challenged. I would like to jump into guilt, because one of the issues I've been working on myself lately and is trying to unravel what loneliness affects my life. It affects everyone differently. Jumping into guilt. One particular form of fear is what we call guilt. Guilt is always associated with a feeling of wrongness and potential punishment, either real or in fantasy. If punishment is not forthcoming in the external world, it expresses itself as self-punishment. Guilt is as prevalent as fear, and we feel guilty no matter what we're doing. A part of our mind says that we really ought to be doing something else, or whatever we are actually doing at the moment. We're constantly running. It has happened to me. I'm constantly running because I'm not happy where I am at the moment, and I'm trying to rush through the situation. I also felt this, that I also feel that I ought to do better, that I should be getting a better golf score. We should be reading a book instead of watching television. We should make love better, cook better, run faster, grow taller, be stronger. You see, all these are perceptions out of which, that once you realize that if you are content with doing with the best you can with what you're doing at this moment, you don't have any regrets. You don't have any guilt. And when we see the truth of how programming happens, we will see that we are pure, blank. We are a pure blank computer. We are the innocent space in which the programming is occurring. When we look at all this, we are going to get angry. Anger is better than resignation, apathy, and depression. I feel that when you see it from a higher level, I think that when you're going from these stages and you're going up, you can also be at a higher level and go through this experience. And then when you see it, you can go back to the level of consciousness that you originally were, because this is just a passing idea, like a commercial through a movie. When we look once we had looked deep within ourselves and found our innate inner innocence, we will stop hating ourselves. We will stop condemning ourselves and stop buying into the condemnation of others and their subtle attempts to invalidate our worth as human beings. It is time to re-own our power and stop giving it away by every passing scammer who jiggles our fears and shakes loose some money out of our pocketbooks or enslaves us into their cause, living off our energy. And if it's not others, I feel that we sometimes do it to ourselves. It is easy to get away from all the fear because we have the power of choice now. I hope this video helps many, because loneliness is a big subject, I feel, for everyone that studies spirituality, because the way you advance in spirituality is you need to spend time alone, because by being alone is how you look within yourselves. And by looking within yourselves is how all this insecurity arises, but then they are surrendered again, and the reward of confidence is rebuilt within you. Whoever doesn't have Letting Go, I will be posting the link. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to chat, and I'll see you on the next one.